When we hear the words nuclear weapon, what comes to mind? For many, it's grainy black and white footage from 1945, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Devastating, yes. World-altering, absolutely. But here's the thing, and it's a crucial, terrifying thing. Those images, as horrific as they are, represent a mere fraction, a whisper, of the destructive capability we're talking about today. The true scale of modern nuclear weapons isn't just bigger, it's on a completely different plane of existence, one that our minds genuinely struggle to comprehend. It's like trying to imagine the distance to the nearest star by looking at a ruler. The bombs dropped on Japan ended a world war, but they were, in a chilling sense, primitive compared to what exists now. Today's strategic nuclear weapons aren't just tens of times more powerful, some are hundreds, even thousands of times more powerful. This isn't an exaggeration for dramatic effect, it's a cold, hard, mathematical reality. We're talking about single warheads capable of erasing entire metropolises from the map, causing casualties in the millions and rendering vast areas uninhabitable for generations. This leap in destructive power is so immense that it fundamentally changes the equation of conflict, of survival, of what it means to be secure. So in this video, I want to try and bridge that gap in understanding. We're going to look at some of these modern weapons, not to sensationalize, but to truly grasp the stakes. Because if we don't understand the sheer, almost unimaginable power we've unleashed, how can we ever hope to navigate a world where these things exist? It's about confronting a reality that's almost too big to see, but one that shapes our world in profound and often invisible ways. Let's try to make it visible. Let's start with something in the US arsenal, the B-83 nuclear bomb. Now, this isn't some dusty relic. It's considered one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful, gravity bombs currently in service. When you hear 80 times more powerful than the Hiroshima bomb, what does that actually mean? The bomb that hit Hiroshima, little boy, had a yield of about 15 kilotons. The B-83 can have a variable yield, but it can go up to 1.2 megatons. That's 1,200 kilotons. The math is staggering. It's not just a bigger explosion. It's an exponentially more catastrophic event, a force of nature unleashed by human hands. Imagine a city like Beijing, a sprawling metropolis, home to over 21 million people. A single B-83 detonated over its center wouldn't just damage it, it would effectively erase a significant portion of it. We're talking about a fireball miles wide, incinerating everything in its path. The blast wave would flatten buildings for many more miles, and the subsequent firestorms would rage uncontrollably. Millions would die almost instantly, with millions more suffering horrific injuries from burns, radiation, and collapsing structures. The very fabric of the city, its infrastructure, its history, its people gone. This isn't a video game scenario. This is the calculated potential of a single weapon. And it's not just the immediate devastation. The radioactive fallout from such a blast would contaminate a vast area, rendering it uninhabitable, poisoning the land and water for decades, potentially centuries. The long-term health effects on survivors in the periphery would be severe cancers, genetic damage. This is what 80 times more powerful translates to in human terms, a level of destruction that dwarfs what was seen in 1945, pushing the boundaries of what we can even picture as a survivable event for a major urban center. It's a sobering thought that such power exists, ready to be deployed. Now let's move from a single, massive bomb to a different kind of threat, one that's mobile, hidden, and carries multiple warheads. The Trident II D5 submarine-launched ballistic missile, or SLBM. These are the backbone of the sea-based nuclear deterrent for both the US and the UK. The terrifying efficiency of the Trident II lies in its MIRV capability. Multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles. This means a single missile, launched from the silent depths of the ocean, can deliver up to 8 separate nuclear warheads to different targets. And these aren't small warheads. Each of these warheads, often the W-76 or W-88, can be around 30 times more powerful than the Hiroshima bomb. So, do the Math 1 missile, 8 warheads, each capable of causing destruction far exceeding what we saw in Japan. Let's consider a city like Moscow. If a single Trident II missile were to target Moscow with its full complement of warheads, the outcome is almost too grim to articulate. Simulations and studies suggest that such an attack could result in over 2.8 million immediate fatalities, with millions more injured. The city's critical infrastructure, government centers, and residential areas would be obliterated. Think about the strategic implication here. A nearly undetectable submarine patrolling silently, holds the power to unleash this level of devastation on multiple points within a target nation. It's a constant submerged threat, designed to ensure that any aggressor knows that retaliation would be swift and overwhelming. The sheer destructive capacity packed into one of these missiles, multiplied by the number of submarines carrying them, paints a picture of a world perpetually on the brink, where the decision of a few could unleash a storm of fire upon millions. It's a stark reminder of the distributed and overwhelming nature of modern nuclear arsenals. Shifting our focus, let's look at China's strategic capabilities, specifically the Dongfeng 5 or DF-5. This is an intercontinental ballistic missile, or ICBM, meaning it can travel vast distances across continents to deliver its payload. The DF-5 is a silo-based missile, a formidable part of China's nuclear deterrent. And like the Trident, some variants of the DF-5 are also MIRV-capable, reportedly able to carry up to, and this number varies by source and variant, but let's say a significant number, perhaps up to 12 warheads, though some estimates are lower. Each of these warheads is a city killer in its own right. Each warhead on a MIRV DF-5 could be around 66 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Again, we're multiplying unimaginable destruction. Imagine a target like Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States. If a DF-5 armed with multiple such warheads were to strike the city and its surrounding strategic areas, the impact would be nothing short of catastrophic. We're talking about the immediate obliteration of the seat of government, key military installations, and densely populated urban areas. Estimates suggest well over 1 million fatalities in such a scenario, with many more injured and the entire region plunged into chaos. The existence of missiles like the DF-5 underscores the global nature of nuclear deterrence and the devastating reach these weapons possess. It's not just about two superpowers anymore. Multiple nations now wield this incredible power. The ability to project such force across the globe means that no major city is truly safe if the unthinkable were to happen. The calculations of deterrence, of strike and counterstrike, all hinge on the terrifying effectiveness of these delivery systems and the warheads they carry. It's a complex, dangerous game where the stakes are entire civilizations. Now we enter territory of truly colossal single warheads. Let's talk about Russia's R-36M, often known by its NATO reporting name SS-18 Satan. This missile, a Cold War legend and still a potent threat, is infamous for its sheer destructive potential, particularly its ability to carry an enormous single warhead. While it also has MIRV variants, some versions of the R-36 were designed to deliver a warhead with a yield of up to 20 megatons. Let that number sink in for a moment. 20 megatons. To put that into perspective, the bomb that devastated Hiroshima was 15 kilotons. A 20 megaton warhead is over 1,300 times more powerful. This is a weapon that doesn't just destroy a city, it obliterates it on a scale that is difficult to put into words. The fireball alone would be many miles across, instantly vaporizing everything within it. The shockwave would flatten even reinforced structures over an enormous area. The heat generated would ignite megafires that could merge into a firestorm, consuming oxygen and creating hurricane-force winds. This is beyond city killer. This is a regional catastrophe from a single warhead. The Satan missile earned its ominous nickname for a reason. Its purpose was to be a counter-value weapon, targeting not just military sites, but entire urban and industrial centers, ensuring maximum devastation. The psychological impact of knowing such a weapon exists, capable of unleashing destruction on this almost geological scale, is immense. It represents a peak of Cold War thinking, where the doctrine of mutually assured destruction relied on the ability to inflict absolutely unacceptable damage. Even one such detonation would change the world forever, environmentally and geopolitically. If the R-36 Satan represented the terrifying peak of Cold War destructive power, its successor, the RS-28 Sarmat, dubbed Satan II by NATO, signals that the age of super-heavy ICBMs is far from over. This is Russia's next-generation strategic missile system, designed to overcome any and all missile defense systems. It's bigger, faster, and even more capable than its predecessor. The Sarmat is reported to be able to carry a massive payload, potentially up to 10 heavy MIRVs, or 15 lighter ones, or a combination including hypersonic glide vehicles. But let's focus on its potential for sheer raw explosive power. While details are often shrouded in military secrecy, there have been claims and analyses suggesting the Sarmat could, theoretically, be configured to deliver an astonishingly large single warhead, perhaps even approaching the territory of a 50-megaton bomb. A 50 megaton yield is difficult to even conceptualize. It's more than 3,000 times the power of the Hiroshima bomb. It's in the same league as the Tsar Bomba, the largest nuclear weapon ever detonated, which had a yield of 50 to 58 megatons. The Tsar Bomba's test detonation shattered windows hundreds of miles away, and its mushroom cloud reached into the stratosphere. Imagine a weapon like that aimed at a city like New York. The destruction would be unimaginable, biblical in scale. Not just the city itself, but a vast surrounding area would be annihilated. The immediate death toll would be in the many millions, the infrastructure erased, the environmental consequences catastrophic, potentially global. The development of weapons like the Sarmat shows that the pursuit of overwhelming nuclear capability continues pushing the boundaries of what is technologically possible and, frankly, what is morally conceivable. It's a stark reminder that the nuclear threat hasn't faded in some ways. It's evolving into new and even more terrifying forms. So, after looking at just a handful of these modern nuclear weapons, the numbers, the scales of destruction, they start to blur, don't they? It's almost too much to process. The B-83, the Trident, the Dongfeng, the Satan, the Sarmat, each one a testament to human ingenuity, but also a terrifying symbol of our capacity for self-destruction. What becomes abundantly clear is that even a limited exchange involving a few of these weapons wouldn't be limited at all in its human impact. It would unleash suffering and devastation on a scale that would dwarf any previous conflict in history, potentially creating a nuclear winter that could affect the entire planet. The destructive power we've just explored isn't theoretical in the abstract. It's built, it's deployed, it's ready. And when you consider that thousands of these warheads exist, distributed among several nations, the picture becomes even more sobering. The idea of winning a nuclear war is a dangerous fallacy. The true scale of modern nuclear weapons, the sheer, almost incomprehensible power packed into each warhead, tells us a different story. It tells us that in such a conflict, there are no victors, only degrees of annihilation, only a devastating, shared loss for humanity. This isn't about fear-mongering, it's about fostering a clear-eyed understanding of the reality we live in. The unimaginable power exists. Our challenge as a species is to ensure it is never, ever used. Because the consequences are, quite literally, world-ending for countless millions, and potentially for civilization as we know it. The only rational path forward is one that leads away from the brink, towards de-escalation, towards disarmament, and towards a future where these numbers remain just that. Numbers in a history book, not statistics of a global catastrophe.